Welcome back. You're in the C Space Studio here at CES 2024 with me, James Kotecki. We are sponsored by Integral Ad Science, and we are joined by the SVP of Marketing for the Las Vegas Raiders, Kristen Banks. Welcome to the C Space Studio.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
The Las Vegas Raiders, you are a marketer for an awesome thing to do in Las Vegas, obviously, is to go to a Raiders game, but there's so many fun things to do in Las Vegas. How do you even think about approaching that challenge of staying competitive in this environment?
Oh, for sure. I mean, one thing, it's being part of NFL and being part of a prestigious club that's been around for 60 years.
Yeah.
But coming into Vegas, you have an incredible amount of competition, to your point, whether it's entertainment and shows, other sports properties.
Yeah.
But really, it's about making that connection with the local community, the tourists, and the broader folks that are watching from home, of how they engage with the brand and trying to make those one-to-one connections.
I mean, so you mentioned being part of the NFL community. Do you think of yourself as, I mean, obviously the teams are competing with each other, but are you as a marketer competing with, you know, the head of marketing at another football team, or do you kind of more work collaboratively? How does that work?
Well, I'd say, I mean, it's good camaraderie across the league. I have wonderful relationships I've established with other clubs, but for sure, I mean, the competitive edge in me and as part of being the team of the Raiders is that we'd love to be the best, and certainly that's where we're establishing our footprint in Las Vegas here and in the broader cities and states around Nevada, that we really want to focus in and kind of boost that fandom.
Yeah. So the Super Bowl is coming up, as everyone knows, and it's going to be here in Las Vegas. So how are you thinking about that? What are, in addition to your role, you know, promoting the team, what kind of organizational responsibilities does that bring for you?
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting to host the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas for the first time ever. There's been so many incredible events to come to Las Vegas and Nevada. Formula One recently, the presence of a baseball team moving here, potentially NBA maybe in the future. We have an award-winning also WNBA team, a hockey team, so there's so much happening already. But to host the Super Bowl, which is so iconic and is really, I think, the premier event when it comes to sports, to have that at Allegiant Stadium is incredible. And I've been fortunate to work with the NFL and the Super Bowl host committee in bringing that to life.
And you know it's the iconic event because everyone else compares their event to the Super Bowl. They'll say, it's ours, it's the Super Bowl of whatever else it is. But no one has to say it's the Super Bowl of football because that's the Super Bowl. So then in the near term then, how are you thinking about technology trends as part of this? So you are here at CES. How do you think about the way that technology impacts what you do? Are there some interesting trends that you're looking at right now?
Oh, incredibly so. I mean, recently at the Las Vegas Raiders, we just finished our community impact report, and it was all of the ways in which we've shown up in the market, whether it's from sustainability, from the financial returns that we've had, and we've used all the technology to measure and increase the effectiveness of how are we looking at becoming a greener stadium? How are we creating 100% renewable energy? Working closely with our partners Microsoft to say, how are we engaging the brand and looking at it from electricity and water usage, and using technology to help measure that.
And how does technology, and the stadium is new, right? It's just a couple of years old, right?
Correct. Right. It was. We actually opened our doors in 2020. Obviously, that was quite the challenge with COVID. But started hosting guests as soon as 2021. So it is fairly new to the city.
And are there ways that you've used technology to kind of increase or differentiate the fan experience for people who are physically there in the stadium?
Oh, incredibly so. The things that I can point to is our zip-ins, which is where people have the ability to go in, get a concession, grab something to eat, and they're simply just scanning their products and being able to walk out. Or it's mobile ordering where you don't even have to leave your seat, and so you're not missing a minute of the game, and you're able to order things and have them delivered right to your seat. That's really kind of a first in the industry and amongst other stadiums in the country.
That's interesting because, you know, you might think technology is all about just getting more screens, more advertising, and to a certain extent it certainly is that.
Sure.
But it sounds like some of these ways that you've used technology to make it easier for people to have that physical experience of being in the seat physically at the game, having that direct connection to the physical reality in front of them, and almost not being distracted by the other things around, make it more streamlined.
Absolutely, and beyond that, and outside of just enhancing the physical experience, the other ways in which we engage people technologically is that we also use AI powered. So on the screen, when the camera focuses on a particular fan, it may change their appearance, or it may do something to generate a funny face or emoticon. And so we're trying to enhance that mobile first experience of you being in the stadium, seeing these giant video boards, the Jumbotron that's all around the lower bowl there, and having that full enhanced experience, so it's not just about being part of the event.
Are you thinking about, or maybe using generative AI in your marketing, collateral generally, in the ways that you kind of build out the outreach that you do for fans and getting into the game?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I think is so incredible about AI is just how intuitive it's become in the last 1 to 2 years. The way in which we're writing copy and thinking about even longer term, like when we are thinking of our game day programs, or how we write something that's going to be used for consumer facing, or generative AI. What's exciting is the NFL draft coming up this year, that may use some generative AI images of how particular clubs show up in the way that you've seen kind of iconic logos. So there's a tremendous opportunity in the way that we're using that technology, and I can't wait to see what else is to come.
Do you think it changes the nature of what it means to be a creative person, given that this technology is available? You're a marketer, so and you're in these really fun, engaging kind of. You have a history. We'll talk about it in a minute of some other interesting brands that you've been a part of. But how does it change your perception of human creativity?
I think it enhances it. I know that there are some folks that may feel that that's quite limiting, or that it may replace the need for designers. I disagree with that personally. I think that it actually enhances the opportunities that are available to designers, and some of the ways that you're looking for stock imagery or videos, that now you can simply have something closer and at your fingertips by using generative AI in your marketing assets.
I mentioned the other cool companies you worked for. So you've worked for Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. You've worked for Universal Orlando Resort. I think these are also iconic brands. Are there things that you take from those that you kind of apply to your work today?
Oh, for sure. I think the benefit of working in sports and entertainment is that with these properties, we've already been doing a lot of things in augmented reality. And so now you're taking that, you're bringing that to mobile, you're bringing that to second screen experience. But to see some of those enhanced kind of user fun features that are now being broadly used by other brands is pretty exciting. And so I'm excited to continue to push the envelope in 2024 and see where it goes.
Do you work much with the players, obviously, the athletes, and really everyone in the organization can be their own little media company, can be their own PR team, right, through social media. Do you work on a kind of cohesive way to put that together, or kind of, is it your job to kind of weave together these different strands?
I think our job is to focus on how do we show up as a brand, how do we also tell incredible stories about players, about athletes. That's just my past background. That's really what hooks a fan in particular, is having that connection of that person's just like me, or they have certain behavioral characteristics that I identify with and that make me a fan and want to stick around. It's really that helmets off strategy that's about focusing on the person and who they are and what they bring to the team from, cohesively.
The helmets off strategy, that's obviously a football term, but I think that could be applied to a lot of other marketing potential out there. So that, having people show up as their authentic selves is, I think, what you're getting at with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not just that, but it's also really focusing on what's specific. I mean, from a sports entity and having that, you have all of these amazing personalities and characters to play with, right? From a particular brand, it might be the extensions of that brand, and so I do think there are some similarities there.
I want to ask you one question on digital health. Do you think about digital health maybe because of the link between health and athletics? Obviously here at CES we see so much in the realm of digital health and equipment and gear and things to help people improve their lives, and being physically fit is obviously a huge part of what makes your operation, your organization go. So how do you think about digital health?
Yeah, I think one, we use technology as a tool to help enhance digital health. I spoke earlier about the impact report, right? And that's just about how the betterment and wellness of overall within the stadium, but the way in which we think about digital health and how we use technology to enhance athlete performance, to think about what ways in which we can improve efficiency. Technology has the ability to allow us to do that at just such a fast speed.
Well, good luck with the Super Bowl coming up. That's going to be huge. Kristen Banks of the Las Vegas Raiders, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you so much for watching us. We're here in the C Space Studio at CES 2024. I'm James Kotecki. Keep it right here. More great conversations are just ahead.